Hello and welcome back to the Next Level You podcast, where we help you build the bridge between your now and your next. I am your host, Myaria Johnson.
And I'm Dr. Miriam Johnson, your co-host and co-visionary. Myaria and I strive every day to be a shining example of what consistent discipline truly means. Yet, like everyone else, we encounter obstacles along the way because perfection is an impossible standard. Nevertheless, we have the power to pursue our best selves through steadfast dedication and relentless practice.
That's right, because we're talking about something people want, but often resist. There are things we admire in others, but struggle to sustain ourselves. Today's letter is D. D is for discipline, or more specifically, how to build daily habits that stick.
Today's episode might challenge you a bit, but in a good way.
Discipline is often misunderstood. People hear the word and think of strict rules, punishment, or perfection. But here's the truth. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is alignment. It's about honoring your intentions through your actions, especially when motivation fades.
Let's start with this. Discipline is not about control. It's about care. It's about caring enough about your future self to make decisions today that align with where you want to go. Discipline is what allows you to show up, stay focused, follow up, and follow through, especially when distractions are everywhere and motivation is nowhere to be found. Some people might ask, isn't it willpower that helps a person's self-discipline? According to research by Dr. Roy Frederick Baumeister and John Tierney, discipline and willpower are closely related, but they are not the same. Here are 3 examples of the distinction and the connection between willpower and discipline. Number 1, willpower is the spark. Discipline is the structure. Willpower is your ability to resist short-term temptations and make choices aligned with long-term goals. It's more like a burst of energy. Discipline is the system of habits, routines, and behaviors you put in place, so you don't have to rely on willpower all of the time.
Number 2, willpower is finite. Discipline is sustainable. Research shows willpower is like a muscle. It gets fatigued when overused. For example, resisting sweets all day may increase your likelihood of giving in later. Discipline, however, reduces the need for constant willpower by creating automatic behaviors such as preparing healthy snacks like fruit or nuts to eat instead of eating unhealthy sweets.
And number 3, willpower starts the change. Discipline maintains it. You may need willpower to start a new habit, like saying no to distractions or showing up at the gym. Discipline ensures that you keep showing up even when motivation fades, turning the action into a lifestyle.
And yes, both willpower and discipline can work together because willpower gets you through the challenging moments when discipline is still forming. And discipline, once established, frees up your willpower to focus on bigger challenges. In short, willpower helps you in the moment. Discipline helps you in the long run. Discipline is the bridge you build brick by brick with your daily decisions.
Absolutely. Because the fact is that most people do not fail because they lack goals. Most people struggle because they never build the bridge. They rely on motivation, and sometimes motivation is like Texas weather. There can be 4 seasons in one day. It's beautiful when it shows up, but it's not always reliable.
Yes, indeed. We live in a culture of instant gratification, one that values convenience over consistency. For example, we expect results after 1 week of working out, clarity after one meditation or therapy session, or loyalty after one kind act. Let's dive in a little deeper. We are surrounded by systems and technology that reward speed and ease. For example, we can order a meal with a tap on our phones and have it arrive in minutes. Movies, shows, and music are available on demand, eliminating any need to wait. With one click, products are shipped to our doorstep overnight or within 1 hour of placing an order. And answers are at our fingertips in seconds through Google, Siri, Alexa, or ChatGPT, which lessens our critical thinking skills.
This environment trains us to expect immediate results, instant gratification, and to become angry or frustrated when the desired results do not materialize. This is why we often start a workout plan but quit after 2 weeks when we don't see visible results, or why we abandon a budget if we don't become debt-free instantly. But here is the danger. Instant gratification undermines long-term growth because we end up chasing the quick fix instead of building a lasting foundation. For example, convenience makes us feel good in the moment, but consistency is what produces transformation. A shortcut may save time today, but discipline is what builds resilience and mastery tomorrow.
Yes, and the irony is that consistency often outperforms convenience in the long run. The person who saves $100 a month with discipline will accumulate far more wealth than the person who chases quick investment wins. The person who exercises steadily, even without dramatic results at first, ends up healthier than the one looking for the 30-day miracle fitness plan. In short, our culture celebrates convenience, but life-changing growth requires consistency.
You may not always feel like doing the things that move you forward. That's when discipline kicks in. It's not emotional, it's foundational. It doesn't ask, how do I feel? It asks, what did I commit to? Now that's real transformation, because discipline is not found in the grand moments. It's found in the small ones, almost invisible ones, such as getting up in the morning or after a nap when you said you would, drinking water instead of soda, practicing gratitude even on tough days, sticking with a routine even when no one's watching.
And that's the powerful part. Those small, almost invisible choices are not just habits. They're shaping who you are becoming. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains that real behavior change is, in fact, an identity change. In other words, the goal isn't just to achieve a result. It's to become the kind of person who naturally lives that result. Here is how discipline works through that lens. One small action creates a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Each vote for yourself builds confidence. Confidence begins to shape your identity. Identity drives consistency. Consistency reinforces your beliefs. And over time, those beliefs sustain your discipline.
That's why it's so important to shift from saying things like, I'm going to try to eat healthier, and say, I'm someone who nourishes my body. Discipline does not begin with perfection. It starts with one vote for yourself, one action, one decision at a time.
I want to share a personal story. Discipline is one area where I really struggle. For me, it shows up in the everyday things: going to bed at a certain time, actually sitting down to meditate, journaling when I say I will, exercising consistently, or cooking at home instead of eating out. What I've learned is that discipline doesn't begin with big dramatic changes. It begins by starting small. For me, that has looked like taking a short 30-minute walk, or jotting down my thoughts when something is bothering me instead of waiting for the perfect journaling session. It also looks like setting an alarm to remind me when it's time to start getting ready for bed. And I'll be honest with you, that one is tough. As a high achiever, if I don't finish everything on my list for the day, I'll often ignore the alarm and just keep working. But the truth is that a small act of honoring the alarm is just as much about discipline as anything else.
I can relate to that. Sometimes it's those small disciplines, like actually going to bed when you say you will, that end up being the hardest to keep.
Exactly. As I reflected on these small actions, I realized I could tie them back to a timeless framework: Franklin Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So let me show you how these everyday struggles and small wins connect to the 7 habits. Habit 1 is be proactive. I stopped waiting for the perfect moment and took responsibility for just starting, even if it was something small. Habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. I reminded myself why I wanted to build these habits in the first place: peace, health, clarity, energy. Habit 3 is put first things first. Choosing to respect my bedtime alarm, even when tasks are unfinished, reminds me that rest is just as important as achievement. Habit 4 is think win-win. Taking care of myself doesn't just help me, it helps me show up better for others. Habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Reflection and stillness help me understand myself before I react outwardly. Habit 6 is synergize. Small disciplines in one area, like rest or journaling, create momentum in other areas of my life. And habit 7 is sharpen the saw. Listening to that bedtime alarm, taking a walk, or writing down my thoughts, these are all small acts of renewal for my mind, body, and spirit. Starting small is what makes discipline sustainable. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something and letting those small somethings add up to who you are becoming.
And that's what we want for every listener who tunes into this podcast: to see discipline not as pressure, but as a powerful form of self-respect and self-leadership, built one small act at a time.
And that's where the next check-in, which we introduced in A is for Agility, comes in. It gives those small acts structure, turning good intentions into consistent habits. Let's walk through the next check-in step by step from a habit-building lens. Notice, where are you inconsistent right now? What area of your life feels out of sync with your goals? For example, you say health is a priority, but sleep is the first thing you sacrifice. Evaluate. Choose one small action to try consistently for the next 7 days. Not big, not flashy, just repeatable. For example, Turn off screens 30 minutes before bed. Experiment. Use a simple habit tracker. Write it on paper. Use an app. The point is not perfection, it's awareness. And track. Reflect weekly. What's working? What needs adjusting? What are you learning about yourself? Discipline is not rigid, it's adaptive.
The next check-in gives you a system to revisit your intentions without shame. Because here's the truth. Life will happen. You will fall off sometimes. But discipline does not disappear. It just waits for you to return.
Discipline is not just about willpower. It's about self-regulation and designing systems that reduce friction. Willpower is like a battery. It drains over the course of the day. Systems, on the other hand, conserve your energy and free your mind for what matters most. Think of it this way. Instead of leaving every choice up to future you, set up guardrails that keep you on track. This is where discipline and self-regulation intersect. You are creating an environment that nudges you toward the aligned choice, even when motivation is low. And if you've been with us since A is for Agility, Part 2, you'll remember we talked about self-regulation as the driver in a goal-setting system built on SMART goals and agile thinking. The same principle applies here. Discipline is not just about setting the right goals. It's about building the right structures to sustain them.
The following are examples of systems that make self-regulation easier. Lay out your clothes the night before to reduce the decision barrier in the morning. Automate your savings so discipline becomes effortless. Meal prep on Sundays so on weekdays you don't have to choose between fast food and healthy fuel. Silence your phone during focus hours to protect your attention. Schedule downtime on your calendar, not just meetings and work, so rest becomes an integral part of your plan.
Notice what's happening here. Each of these is a microstructure that regulates behavior. They don't require you to summon endless willpower. They create conditions where the discipline choice becomes the default choice. And when you stack enough of these self-regulating systems, you start to move through life with more ease and direction.
Here's what most people don't talk about. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you are rebuilding trust. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about proving to yourself, I can count on me.
And when that trust is in place, guess what else grows? Confidence, integrity, peace. You are no longer in constant negotiation with yourself. You become someone who follows through. Before we go, here's your challenge. Identify one area where you need more discipline. Use the next check-in to define a small, repeatable action. Do it for 7 days and track what happens.
And remember, we are not chasing perfect streaks. We are building consistent character. Let this be your turning point, where discipline goes from something you try to something you embody.
We will see you in Discipline Part 2, where we explore how to stay disciplined when emotions are high, especially in relationships and professional conflicts. Because the real test of discipline, it's not the morning routine, it's the moment of restraint. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the Next Level You podcast on platforms such as YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or Amazon Music. Check our show notes for details. And if you want to dive deeper into the concepts we covered in this episode, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn by searching Next Level U. That's NEXTLEVEL and the letter U. Look for our bridge logo, and we'll see you soon.